Hello people, I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
Sup?
So this is a merging of my two worlds, as it were. Get Jaby and Jaby KOAY. This is a video by Heavy Spoilers talking about MINNAL MURALI.
Wow.
Ending explained. Full movie breakdown and spoiler talk review. Netflix India. And it's surprising to me that Heavy Spoilers decided to do this, because why? Like, why? Not in a bad way, in a great way. Like, why did he decide to do this? I would love to know.
Well, maybe because, you know, he loves to do a lot of the comic book
Absolutely.
like Marvel and DC
Esque
breakdowns and stuff anyway, and this is India's foray into that, so he's like, cool, let's check it out.
Yeah, I suppose it being a superhero thing, it's in his lane. I tried to get my brother to watch it, but he's always slammed busy with everything in his schedule, so I was like, all right, well, I tried. Anywho, Heavy Spoilers watched it, and I'm very curious to hear what he has to say, what his breakdown was, and please, if you guys could, if you enjoy this video even a little bit, go to the original and watch it, or at least give it an upvote and let him know Jaby sent you, because it only got 54,900 views, and that's a little discouraging for me to see. I would have loved it if he got way more views, because so many people have done like trailer reactions and I suppose movie reviews as well, but like, it's just cool that Heavy Spoilers did this, so I just want to, I want him to get more love for it.
Big fans.
Okay, so MINNAL MURALI is now out worldwide on Netflix, and the Indian superhero story has a lot to unpack from it. Throughout this video, we're going to be going through the plot, ending, and also giving our thoughts on it. There will be heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't had a chance to check it out, then I highly recommend that you check out now. They say lightning never strikes twice, but we'd love it if you hit that thumbs up button, and also the subscribe one too for videos like this every day. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into MINNAL MURALI. Now after Mars, Saturn and Jupiter end up being brought into an event known as a triangular planetary alignment, we watch as strange magnetic storms start to hit the Earth. During one of these, a tailor called Jason is struck by lightning, and he's blessed with incredible abilities. These include super strength, increased reflexes, speed, and though he can't fly, he can do a lot. Now at the start of the movie, Jason wants nothing more than to move to America with his love Bincy, who just so happens to be the daughter of the superintendent of the village. Jason's heart just isn't in the village, and he feels like he deserves a better life in the USA. However, come the end of the movie, after vanquishing evil, he decides to remain there and become its loyal protector. This movie is very much about finding purpose, and Tovino Thomas does an incredible job of enthusing the hero with charisma that's difficult not to like. Throughout the film, we watch as he comes to grips with his new gifts, whilst also dealing with the fact that Bincy is now engaged to someone else. Your boy Anish, coolest guy in the village that wears sunglasses at night and is basically the Indian Enrique Iglesias. More like Enrique Iglesias. Moving on. Now, MINNAL MURALI is very much a superhero origin story that wears its influences on its sleeve, and throughout the film we get nods to Batman, Superman, and a lot more. We actually learn that Bruce ended up becoming Batman because he got hit by a bat during a cricket game, which completely changes the origin story for The Dark Knight. Exclusive. Now every story—
Wait, that was a joke, right?
Yeah, that's gotta be a joke. I don't remember that.
No, there was never—
Yeah. What?
Oh my god, is that what happened in the movie? I know, all I remember is Bruce fell down into a cave and a bat came at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't remember if he was playing cricket. Was he playing cricket? Oh my god. I can't remember. He might have been playing cricket.
I don't know.
Exclusive. Now every story needs a villain, and this comes in the form of Shibu, who's also struck by lightning on the same night that Jason is. He gains all of the abilities that Jason does, but he also possesses telekinetic abilities and can move objects with his mind. Jason doesn't seem to have these initially, but come the final battle he manages to tap into them after remembering his father. Now Shibu is somewhat an outcast in the village, and he longs to be with a girl called Usha and has spent several years fawning over her. She ended up becoming pregnant, and both Shibu and Jason share several similarities, as they're both after girls that have, let's say, complicated relationships.
I didn't think about that when we watched it.
The doctors are surprised to see that he's completely fine, and he calls in his nephew Josman, who helps him to train and master his abilities. He ends up having several run-ins with the police, who oppress the villagers and talk down to the people that live there. They block Jason's passport, and this corruption and bullying leads to the superintendent revealing that Jason's real father died during a village play that ended up catching on fire. Jason suppressed this memory and was raised by a man named Vaki, who cared for him like he was his own son. Jason saw his father dressed as the saviour MURALI as he was performing as the character in the play. Over the coming weeks, Jason adopts the moniker, and this memory of his father very much inspires him. Guy starts really embracing his powers, embarrasses the police in a chicken mask, and brings justice to the village. However, as he grows stronger, Shibu does too. He starts trying to attract Usha again, whose daughter is extremely sick, but she doesn't have any money to pay for her operations. Shibu becomes somewhat of a guardian angel to her, and what I love about the movie is that you can actually relate to him quite a lot.
Yeah.
He'll do whatever he can to try and make her and her daughter's life better, and it makes his arc fascinating to watch. Early on, if you didn't know going in that he was going to be the bad guy, then you might end up surprised with how this story goes. But not me, because I watched the trailers and spoiled it for myself. Now he steals the money to pay for the op, pins it on MURALI, and on the other side of this, Jason's brother-in-law learns the truth about him. He's high up within the police, and though the superintendent doesn't believe him, he clearly knows what's going on. Now Shibu goes to pay for Usha's daughter's surgery, but it's revealed that her brother actually stole the money from Jason in order to save her life. Jason discovers this and threatens to kill him if he doesn't return the cash, but on the night he realizes that he went too far. However, that night Shibu goes to Usha's brother Dasan and offers to give him the money he stole in exchange for his sister's hand in marriage. Dasan doesn't want to know because of the insanity that runs in Shibu's family, and angered by this, Shibu ends up killing him. Setting him ablaze, Jason arrives to see his dad's tailor shop on fire, and he finds MURALI written on the wall, once more pinning it on the hero. To make matters worse, because of his outburst, the villagers turn on Jason, and Bincy also gets married. Whilst the police try and examine the CCTV from the village, Shibu attacks, and this allows Jason to somewhat show that it isn't actually all MURALI. He also saves a bus from plunging over a cliff, and this somewhat brings up his reputation amongst the villagers. Now this somewhat creates a new era for Jason, in which he creates a costume and becomes a mascot for the village, even though Shibu is constantly disliking his videos and writing nasty things in the comments. Eventually, Jason traces an item of Shibu's clothing that came off in one of their fights, and Shibu also discovers that Jason is the one behind the mask. As the two have a standoff, someone well aware of what Shibu is capable of returns to the village, and he demonstrates his powers in front of everyone. This leads to a manhunt, and on the opposite side of this, Jason is arrested after the chicken attack is tied to him. Is it a chicken attack or a turkey? Never mind. Now after Shibu finally escapes the friend zone, the villagers arrive and end up setting alight to his house, which kills Usha and her daughter. Caught in the explosion, Shibu ends up looking like the worse half of Harvey Dent, and he travels to a festival for revenge. It's an awesome finale in which he starts to burn the entire thing to the ground, which of course mirrors the opening of the movie. Much like the play at the start, the festival was supposed to be a moment of celebration, but several lives were ruined. Jason of course lost his father during this, and he's well aware that the same thing could happen to other families if he doesn't stop Shibu. Left with little option, the police put their faith in Jason, and it leads to an epic battle between the two, with Jason finally donning his costume. Elsewhere, Bijou manages to stop several explosives going off, saving the villagers and leaving Jason and Shibu to go head to head. However, the fight's not that straightforward, and possessing far more advanced abilities than Jason, Shibu easily defeats him. Guy legit headbutts his hand at points, which is pretty hilarious. Now, I got a lot of flashes of Thanos versus Captain Marvel, and also even Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin, which makes it clear that Jason is massively outmatched.
The thing with bopping his head into his fist, I just realized, I think that was in a Jet Li movie. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was a remake of a Bruce Lee film. Which the name escapes me right now because it's been so long since I've watched it, but I'm fairly certain I saw that in a Jet Li film where it was about the Chinese being bullied by the Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Because Japanese were occupying China and all that stuff, and so he was fighting this guy and he's like bopped his fist. It was pretty cool.
However, he manages to tap into his telekinesis after remembering his father saving people when he could have just run away. Inspired by his words, he defeats Shibu, and in the end, Jason decides to become a watcher that protects the village. Knowing that other threats may come to harm them, he puts his own wishes to the side and becomes a beacon of hope that own MURALI. Now going forward, Basil Joseph confirmed that a sequel has been greenlit, and though nothing is set in stone yet, he said there are a lot of ideas on the table. In an interview with New India Express, he said he'd love to see some crossovers with other superheroes. If you've been keeping up to date with Netflix's YouTube, you'll also see that he had somewhat of a fight with the Great Khali, and there was even talk of him going toe-to-toe with The Undertaker. I'd love to see people like that get brought into future movies as their own heroes or even villains. Interestingly, Joseph said that he thinks it's important for Jason to leave his village, and there may have been things set up in the film that could point to where we're going next. Though the police's suspicions about Iraq were incorrect, it's interesting that it was brought up and potentially he could go there. The storm that gifted Shibu and Jason with powers was a planetary event, so it also makes sense that more than just these two would have been struck with lightning. If two so close together with powers, then you can
completely forgot about that.
Others did too. Now, as for my thoughts on the film, I just want to thank everyone for sending this through for me to review. India is actually my second biggest audience just after the US, and I've always appreciated the support that you guys have brought to the channel. There's been people like Rohit Das and Saikath Ghosh who followed my channel since day one and are still always some of the first people to comment on my vids, and I know so many of you rock with me, which means the world. I'm so glad that you guys have an awesome comic book movie now too, and though the budget for this movie is pretty low, I was amazed by how much they actually managed to do with it. Basil Joseph said that it was something like 0.0001% of a Marvel film, but they got super creative, and though there were limitations, they still made a really impactful film. What MURALI has going on is that its hero is really charismatic, and its villain is also someone that you can somewhat relate to. Basil said that he wanted to show we can all do something heroic, and even though the back kick with the Tiffin box is simple, it shows we can help people out and be our own superheroes in certain ways. That's what I love about this movie, and it also has an amazing soundtrack that I've been listening to on the side whilst putting my thoughts together for the film. Though I don't think it's going to blow anyone away when it comes to action scenes or special effects, that's not necessarily what the film is trying to do, and the movie has a real heart to it and story that I think many people will find some common ground with. I'm so glad that a sequel is getting greenlit. I think that going forward there's going to be a lot of amazing stories that they can tell. What I love about the film is that it embraces its culture rather than simply trying to copy the West, and there's so many ways that they can go with things in the future. MURALI was great, and if you're looking for a film to just chill out and have fun with, then I definitely recommend that you check it out. Overall, I really enjoyed the film, and it gets an 8 out of 10. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the movie, so make sure you comment below and let me know. I hope everyone has a great 2022, and I appreciate all the support you guys have given me in 2021.
I kind of wish that he had two sections to this video, where the first section was the non-spoiler, and then he's like, okay, now we're gonna go into spoilers. So because he basically told you the entire film, right?
Yeah, he did. It was, I mean, this was kind of different to his other videos, I guess, because when it comes to stuff like Marvel or DC, he's clearly super duper knowledgeable. Whereas this, you know, there isn't really anything to
There's no backstory.
There's no backstory. There's nothing to back it up with. It's a brand new story on its own. And sure, you know, he pointed out the inspirations from, you know, DC.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's all brand new and open to interpretation, right? There isn't...
Right.
It's not really like the other videos he does where he can kind of connect it back to other things or the lore, because there's so much there.
Yeah,
so.
I appreciated some of his observations that I didn't pick up on, and some of the poetic elements of the film. Like, we already knew the bookends where it started and ended sort of the same way, but the whole thing with both of them pursuing women, that you know, that was interesting. I was hoping he was going to do more of that throughout this video, because like what he was picking up on, I'm like, oh, that's cool. What else did he pick up on?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just a handful of things, but yeah, I was kind of hoping he was going to talk about some of the things that we sort of... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I enjoyed what he said, and I thought it was cool that he explored it at all, and he's supporting his Indian audience. I don't know if Heavy Spoilers realizes that, you know, it's a Malayalam film, so it's a very particular section of the Indian film industry. Yeah. You know, I mean, you guys know. I'm saying it in case Heavy Spoilers is watching, because it's not Bollywood. You know, it's its own thing. Nonetheless, I'm just like him. I'm happy that he should check out Krish. Like, he should watch Krish. We should watch Krish, and then we should do a collab talking about Krish. That would be interesting.
Oh my god, let's make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, if Heavy Spoilers was watching, yeah, that'd be a cool video to do, because that's an Indian superhero film that came out, you know, ages ago, and I still haven't seen it. Anyway, yeah, this was fun, and I hope you guys, I'm sure many of you who are watching this are already subscribed to Heavy Spoilers, seeing as how he has such a substantial Indian audience already. That's pretty crazy. Anywho, that's it for now. I'm Jaby KOAY. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.